What is interesting because we got a job at iHeart. Well, excuse me, you were working at iHeart. I ended up getting a job working at iHeart, and
Right.
so we would see occasionally. And what piqued my attention the most was how did you go from DJing from UTA to DJing at iHeartRadio to a film director?
Yeah, so it's a wild thing to think about, especially you know, when you're in the industry and you're just moving forward. You it's times like this that kind of forced me to have to think in retrospect and think backwards in a way that allows me to try to figure out how that actually happened. You just do it one step at a time. But interestingly, um, there is always a tether to both art forms, and that's within storytelling, which I love so
Yeah,
much. Um, so it was really the same type of feeling and to follow, but different way of execution and certainly different scale of accountability and in that execution. So for me, when I was in, doing the board op work at Kiss FM, I was doing the iHeart Radio Technological Radio honor personality gig. It was a way to be a storyteller, but with the music of others and the platform of other artists and like supporting them and seeing what it's like. Um, when I did that for a year and a half, I realized that what I wanted to do is that I wanted to get on a plane and see the world a little bit bigger for what it is, because all these people I'm meeting and all these backgrounds and where they're coming from, they talk up in about their languages and their cultures and what they do and see, and I see how much they glow as a person when they have that type of worldly persona. So I really wanted to emulate that and take that head on. So in 2017 I traveled the world and went hostel hopping and went from like Southeast Asian country to Southeast Asian, went to the Philippines, lived there for a while, went to Taiwan, Taipei, and then ended up in Japan. And then while I was in Japan, I really got to hone in on working on a story music project that got the attention of uh, uh, a few producers in LA. And what was really cool about that was their first recommendation was go to UCLA producer program. They'll give you my recommendation. It was a good cosign to have going into town, not really knowing anybody or anything, like a stranger in a new
yeah.
land, which LA was, even coming from Japan, really. Um, and when I did that and I started doing the program, I started to figure out where I could fit in. And it was taking the storytelling that I loved so much in the past, and then translating it and using the vessel of writing and directing to the highest degree, backed up by knowledge and producing, to know how to utilize the relationships you had in town to do a form of authentic collaboration, no matter what kind of project that's there. And I figured that out, and I figured out who I can work with on a longer term, or who could value what ideas and what vertical, whether it's action or drama or horror or short films or animation. I started to, I guess, earn my stripes through in every avenue and compartmentalize them as such. And now I'm 8 films in, one studio animation feature, and many more to come. And luckily enough, and it's a privilege, and I'm really happy that it's turned out this way. So yeah, you never really plan for the exact destination, but you certainly could give yourself swimming lanes when you dive into that industry, if that is an apt metaphor to use.
I just say you have a lot of lanes that you dived into there.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times people will tell you to focus, um, in the beginning, like focus on one thing. And so I did. I wrote my first action adventure feature that got the attention of an exec in town. It got optioned. It set the path for development in terms of working with somebody industry level, exec level, by the name of the amazing mentor of mine named Tom Noonan, who really taught me to write screenplays at that degree and compete with other professionals in town. And once I started to win awards, I started to get that validation, but also confirmation that the vision is in the right direction. It's just what can I do to make sure that I end up doing what I love, not what I'm not being catered to a trend that's relevant at the time or what have you. So that was kind of the trick. And once a couple of short films will do that, producing a couple of short films and writing, directing a couple of short films, and ended up doing Things That Fall, which is when I wrote in the Philippines, then polished in LA after my first option, and ended up becoming my directorial debut. And then long road, and a year and a half into that campaign, landed on the 92nd Academy Awards for the long list, and things kind of really opened up from there. So it was really cool. It was really cool to see that happen. Yeah.
I like how you just ran through it like it was nothing, John, with the long list.
It's hard to break it down. Like, if I were to go into the intricate details of it, I think it'd go on for hours, but in a way, this is that was kind of the shortest way I've ever put it, I think, for sure.
I just want to say you're a very humble man, because I would have Oscar, long list. I would have slowed it down and then zoomed in when the Oscar came, so that you can know, my short film was on the list. You know what I'm saying? Did y'all get that? So now I'm playing.
I mean,
I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, it's more humbling because I didn't win, like if I won, it would have been also a different story. Like the town always will go, what else you got? That's always the line, right? It's like, what else you got? And so you have to really keep pushing. You can't really stick to one thing, because that's how you get bogged down and stuck on one lane, and that doesn't help too much in this town.
Now let's talk about All Things That Fall. How did that come about?
So the beginning of it was submitting to a lot of competitions. So it was just a script form for a long time, and I submitted to a lot of competitions online and wherever anyone had recommended me to submit it in, and it started to win the entire competitions. Weirdly enough, it was it started to get like a first place in this thing, and then another thing, and then where it really changed the game was when it landed in an amazing short film festival called Holly Shorts, which is at the Chinese theater. And so what it did is it allowed me to put the film on the big screen, in vein of something that I've always heard about, being like the legacy, where a lot of legendary films end up, and on Sunset Boulevard, and it kind of gave a platform for that. So a lot of people that got to see that on that level really saw that it could be executed I could do things that could be executed for the big screen. But in order to make that and make any of that happen, when I submitted as a script, it was in the short film script competition at Holly Shorts, which got the eyes of that competition gets the eyes of a lot of people in town. A lot of people read those scripts. They look for which ones are winning, which ones have the weight to move forward. And I met the producers that believed in it first. One of them's name is Tom McNamara, and amazing, incredible human being who fought with me and for the issues that film represented. And it was a tough battle, but we tried to make it the first time and gathered a whole production together, and then it fell apart because of location. And then we tried to put it together, and then it fell apart again. because of casting. So there were many opportunities to say maybe we could make it years later, kind of like how you were talking
Yeah.
about earlier about like if you don't make the call happen now, it doesn't really happen later, you know, like it's
Yeah.
just pushed and pushed. The film was the same way as we just was turning into, it was falling apart. And if we gave up on it, then we would have never made it. None of this would have happened. But we fought for it to the very end, and we made it the third time around. And that third time, I was, you know, the whole time I was only producer writer attachment, the
Yeah.
most of the film. But at that third time, when we didn't give up, I think you earn the trust of the people around you and the vision that you have. I even storyboarded the project, and they saw that. So they really dropped the question, do you want to direct? And it wasn't even on my radar because I didn't go to film
Yeah.
school for directing, you know, and it really was a school of hard knocks going in with the films, looking at the films that I love so much, looking at how they work behind the scenes, taking notes, reading, and faking it, showing up on day one. And I felt like an actor playing a director,
Yeah.
where it did instill confidence in people around, because being in that mentality puts you in the shoes where, you know, the director is a lot of the times the central module of the entire film during production. So you have to, there's only one way to do it, which is show up with confidence that you could do it. Because if you have any doubts, people will feel that, people will see that, and that certainly does
Yeah.
slow down the production. And that always can be improved, like film after film after film, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you go about, how was a script developed? What was it inspired by?
I actually wrote that script, Things That Fall. I wrote Things That Fall I remember I was on an airplane from Taipei to El Nido, Philippines. And I was in the air, and we were, you know, that whole sabbatical that I did in 2017, that whole buy a one-way ticket, choose your own adventure type of reality, allowed for a sense of creative freedom and creative flow, because no one can tell you a deadline, you know, because back then I had nothing, you know, I had nothing to attach to when it came to the creative world of screenwriting, directing, or filmmaking in general. I
Yeah.
was just writing. It was just like
Yeah.
finding what I can. And so what I really honed in on with Things That Fall was, I knew that there was one thing that had been haunting me for a long time. Is when I was in business school, I had a deaf classmate that unfortunately had to go through we were in a class, and business school professors are very crude with their
Yeah.
jokes and how they talk. So we had one professor that took it too far and made a joke at her expense. And I saw her break down internally, and then after the class externally. And it made me, I didn't know how to connect. You know, I didn't know how to
Yeah.
console somebody or communicate in that way. And that had always haunted me for a very long time. And so Things That Fall for me was a way to explore that and go to an understanding of what that can be like, and empathize with someone in those shoes, and see that we're all really not as different as we initially seem. And like learning sign language actually was very easy. In fact, my lead, uh, one of my leads, Stephanie Nogueras, she's the one who taught me sign language too. So in a way, it was a way to kind of respect that culture, respect the
Yeah.
atmosphere, respect the issues at hand, and, you know, fight for deaf talent, you know, and then at the same time put in a little bit of the stigmas of mental health issues that, being a
Yeah.
South Asian myself, we are horrendous at accepting. Even today, it hasn't really gotten as any better, but we have to keep reminding folks around us that mental health is a real issue, and we need to tackle it in a way,
Yeah.
especially auditory schizophrenia, which happens to 1 out of 10 students. in whether they know it or not, and whether it goes the degree that we think of it as not, such as like Beautiful Mind or what have you. But if it does help the whole point of the film was with that dynamic, if that helps someone identify what they're going through because they just couldn't put a identification on it, or a direction to take that issue internally and seek professional help. That was the whole point of the film. And we actually had people reach out saying how they had experienced auditory hallucinations and not even know it. So it would, in a way, that's kind of the real point of the film. Awards or wins aside, and all that is bonus gravy stuff. But the impact that it could have on the community, especially in the deaf community, fighting for deaf talent, and showing that it can be done, I think really put in a layer of why films like that should be celebrated in the era that it came out, in the 2019 era, pre-pandemic era, and then post-pandemic era, where it's even more important today. So it was really cool to be a part of something like that, and to push that all the way up as far as we could. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a film called The Boys. I still think you should do a part 2 or something. But it's okay. It's okay. You ain't gotta believe me. But that film, listen, I saw it, and all I gotta say is it's hot fire.
Oh,
Okay?
thank you.
That's all. Man, you did that one right there. It was good.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got me want to go into conversation, but I'll leave that to you to, explain to the people about this film.
Yeah,
I feel like it's important today, and it's very important for children should watch that, because it's but tell me about tell them about it. Tell them about it.
Yeah, Boys was a magical project, really. I mean, the team all together was all on the same page, from the start of the idea all the way to execution and festivals and all that jazz. The festival route was it was a privilege to be on that road with the team. I mean, it was produced by produced it with Ariel Winter, Sterling Bowman, and directed by Luke Benward, written by David Mendel. So everyone had a life before Boys, really, in terms of like what they did in the industry, and who who they were and what they've done. So it was really cool to see that team of all different voices and platforms come together to, unfortunately, touch a topic that hasn't gone out of trend, about gun control, and but it's less about taking a stance in gun control or gun reform. It was more about because I think the tricky part about that is, if you jump on one side of the line, whether to have it or not have it, you lose the entire other audience. And the trick for Boys was to jump right on that line in the middle and say, hey, we give you a scenario that happens often. What you do afterwards is what matters, and that's, because the film is about, because it's not just, if kids watch it, kids should definitely watch it too. I think someone to watch something that I could say haunting could or tragic could make someone think twice, certainly, but also for parents to kind of ask themselves the question, what would I do if one of my children had made a big mistake when they're just playing with guns in a backyard, and it comes to lead to tragedy, and that's that film really is deep in a way, when you look at
it is.
Why it's, at the time it was what people call zeitgeist, the topic of the time. And the same way Get Out was zeitgeist, it would just hit the right place at the right time. But the unfortunate part between Get Out and Boys is that it is still zeitgeist. It is still at the right place at the right time for the 5 years afterwards that it has a life online. And that's worrying, because that's less of a testament to the film and more of a testament to our environment, in America and how we are dealing with the overabundance of guns in unsecure locations or accessible locations for children when you're in that world. So yeah, it was a really, really deep project, and it was something that I could look back on and be really, really happy and proud of the team and the artists that had gone behind it and put it together, for sure.
Listen, okay, are you ready? Cause I'm ready to do a fast round. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
You
Let's
gotta
do it.
think quick.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, you know me. I used to do that back in my radio days. The speed rounds. Yeah, I love
Okay.
this.
So where are you from?
I'm from Norway. I was born in Norway, Trondheim, Norway.
Okay. Okay. What's your favorite artist? Don't think about it. Just say it. You gotta
Right
go.
now is Chance the Rapper. Chance,
Ah!
yeah, I've been
Wow.
listening to some of his old stuff. Back when he was releasing like Sunday Candy and just re going through his catalog of what he did started with and how he ended up today. I mean, he's one of those generational artists, and I'm a big fan of his for sure. I always have been, but you leave an artist for a while and you come back to it. Yeah.
Okay. Biggest thrill.
Biggest thrill has been recently off-roading. So a couple of my friends have taken their off-road
Okay.
vehicles and we go to the countryside, and it's like Milky Way season right now. So we go when I go down to visit Texas and visit my parents there, we hop on one of those off-road vehicles that are like they're all tanks. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the trend, with forerunners these days. And you go to the countryside and open up shop and look up at the sky, all night watching the giant Milky Way now that's out today and in the season. So that's been pretty much the most recent thrill and what's exciting in my world right now.
Okay. Tell me something nobody knows about you.
Oh, and
Because I
nobody
mean,
knows
if you
about
can
me.
sing some now.
Oh, I no. I could always try. But no, I don't know if a lot of people know that I do martial arts as this form of self-discipline, like Aikido, Kenjutsu, and from time to time, well, no, recently I've been into boxing a lot. So yeah, that would be something that I don't think a lot of people know, that I've picked up boxing at a level where I'm consistently doing it. So that's pretty new.
Okay. What is the song that sums up your life right now?
Sums up my life. Wow, what a
Come on.
question. Um, right, right this instant, right?
Yes.
I would say Lost in the World by Kanye West.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I also been diving into My Beautiful Dark Fantasy, My Beautiful Dark
Oh,
Twisted Fantasy. Just kind of reliving like the artisan days of Kanye when he was like optimal, opus artist. And Lost in the World is uh, amazing because that album had that song which bled into I think it was like Who Will Live in America, or
yep.
Who Will Survive in America. Yeah, it was Who Will Survive in America, which technically is the same song, but one has like a monologue on top of the other.
Yeah.
But Lost in the World is an amazing track right now because it's just this self-empowering and self-motivating track, but at the same time grounds you and makes you remember where you came from and the
Yeah.
communities that you were raised in. And yeah, I love that. I've been on repeat on that song for a while now.
I'm not shocked at your music selection at all. At all. You're a good person because before Kanye jumped off the deep end, he was a he, he was a good artist. So I'm with
I
you on
think it
that.
still is, like with him, I compartmentalize his artist's life to against his personal life, because I think his personal life is always like a marketing tool or a
Oh,
ploy or like
definitely.
something in the right direction. But he does make music that you can't deny its production, I don't think,
Yeah.
nor its message at times, especially when it uncovers like the darkest parts of our, American culture, pop culture, and how that's been evolving. So yeah, he puts himself on the radar all the time, and I don't really agree with some of the things he does outwardly. But
Yeah.
when he expresses himself in his music, for me, it's just so different. There's like a dissonance. Like his music
Yeah.
feels like that's really, really who's underneath. Like I see a smiling, like creative,
Yeah.
jamming, pure soul in his music, and then when I put it against his actions, they're so juxtaposed. So
Yeah,
it's really hard to
it's
figure out
like
what's going on.
his artistry is he's a good, oh man, you don't understand how I don't used to, I still do. It's just, his latest album, I couldn't get past it, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's
I just
okay.
gotta
Yeah,
yeah, I just gotta go back when I'm into the mood, because sometimes you have moods where it's like not today. But I do like him as an artist, and he's very creative. You can see that, them wheels just turning sometime where you be like, yep, you got some coming. But he needs to stay away from those shoes because it's real bad. Now,
I think you make a good point, because I think it might be that, like you said, maybe he doesn't know how to properly express himself in words,
yeah,
but he really knows maybe the best way or the only way he really knows how to get his message across in a short amount of time. I got the hiccups. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine.
Is in a song, in an
That's right,
actual record,
right.
because in the record, there's no bias, there's no response. It's you get what you get no matter what. So
Yeah,
I haven't even heard his new album because it's been on that MP3 thing you gotta buy.
man,
Um,
look, I think it. No, hold on, no, not done. What Donda? I heard the first song. He was like a chant. I was like, I don't know what you're saying, homie.
yeah,
Yeah,
Donda was interesting. I mean, the fact that I I like where Donda came from, and I think I like what the dedication is about.
that part
But
I like.
it's no graduation. It's no
Oh, you trying to
you
be?
know.
We'll move on because we can. So, what's
I
next for Psy? What is next for Psy? I know you got some films and stuff going on. Tell me about that.
Yes, I am currently finishing up short film right now. Finished another short film. Working on a feature in Germany. Working on a few projects in Japan now that the last feature was out. And working on a feature in the States that I'm really excited about, that would be shooting fairly soon. And then lastly, fairly shortly, I think in 2 months or so, if nothing pushes, as things always do, just because you want to take your time with things.
Yeah.
I'll be directing another film in the realm of football and drama, and like drama behind that, like very Friday Night Lights type of thing. So we'll see how that turns out, because that is one of those things that timelines always change as things are happening,
Yeah.
and right now everything kind of started at the same time. So we're doing our best to stick to it, but that was a fairly exciting project as well. Yeah.
One more thing. You have so many things going on. I mean, you're a busy man. What do you do just to relax?
Yeah, I certainly not sleep. I love sleep, but I certainly don't sleep that much. I get like I'm on that Kevin Hart flow. Is the Kevin Hart's the only one that not the only one, but I've read and seen him talk about his 5-hour sleep schedule. And
Yeah.
in the beginning, I was like, "There's no way I could do that." But now I'm kind of forced to do that,
Yeah.
and 5, 6 hours, sometimes 4, sometimes 2. Last night was 3. You just break it down based on the meetings you have coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what I do on my free time is I like to read. Reading really calms things down. Reading a lot of books that a lot of people. I used to be in that bestseller vibe for a long time. Like what is
Yeah.
the bestseller now? Like what are people thinking is the thing to read? And I realized that I don't really agree with the bestsellers that people put out these days. Not necessarily,
Yeah.
but like some of their topics and some of the things they do, some of them are amazing. Sci-fi hasn't let me down yet, bestseller wise. But I've been in this like nonfiction kick for a while. So I'm rereading autobiography of Malcolm X right now.
Mm.
I'm rereading the Muhammad Ali biography. I'm reading The Oath, which is about a war surgeon under fire and his true story. Things that are like so much bigger than who I am and
Yeah.
are more in the line of what I aspire to learn from and be. And a lot of it helps put your mind. It's like, I can't have a conversation with Malcolm X tomorrow if I put all the money in the world for it, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But I could always have a conversation with him in a book because I
Yeah.
open up autobiography of Malcolm X and it's his words. So then it's very easy to be a couple of pages in, and you in the beginning you acknowledge that you're reading, and then 20 pages or 30 pages down the line you feel like you're across a dinner table with Malcolm X, or like at a picnic or something, or a party where I have all the time in the world with him and get to ask him questions that I I don't even know to ask until I'm there in front of him, and he'll answer it in the most intricate detail and as much detail as possible. You can't get, it doesn't get better than that, right now. That's kind of what I'm doing to relax and do that. And spray paint, but I've been off the spray paint game for a while, like muralism and all that, just because I haven't
Yeah.
been able to come down. It's a big dedication of time to bring your cans down to wherever you are, or find cans
Yeah.
and source them and like do them. So I've been able to express myself a lot via muralism, like murals and stuff that I used to do,
Yeah.
especially during the pandemic. But
Yeah.
I plan to do it again. I hope I get to do it tomorrow. That'd be nice if I do it tomorrow for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So where can people find you at and your films?
Yeah, I mean, right now the best place to look is two things. My Instagram, which would be Huck, very simple. And then my IMDb for the films.
Okay.
For just look at my name, Cy Huck, and you'll see the films that I've worked on that are coming out. Some of them aren't on there because they're still being worked on right now.
Yeah.
But the films that are out there, you can see them, and I usually will lead you to YouTube, because the place that where most people have been able to catch it is on an amazing film channel on
Yeah.
YouTube platform called Omeletto. And Omeletto is like award-winning short films, just like good
Yeah.
quality, good tastemaker of films there. So I wouldn't just say just watch my stuff. Please watch my stuff, obviously, but watch others, because
Yeah.
others' work is also equally good on Omeletto. There's some amazing talented people on there. But that's how you can really follow me right now.
Okay.
And the Instagram is, I drop tidbits all the time on Instagram and talk about like things that are coming up, and little puzzles and little hints there. Like I don't have the biggest fan base in the world or anything like that, but for the people I know, they're the people I love.
Is
That's all
yeah.
that to me, that's what it matters. Anything beyond that kind of like takes up space. It's not rent free in my brain, because social media
Yeah.
is like almost, you have to be like a second person, like second life.
Yeah.
And often when I'm writing and I have to be creatively free, you have to be completely honest with yourself. And social media kind of slows down big time. So if people don't hear from me for a long time, it's because I'm in the cave writing or creating
Yeah.
or putting something together. So but I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying to be a little bit better at communicating with people around, because networking is so important right now, especially as we're all trying to see like, oh, are you doing a good post-pandemic? Are you doing good post-pandemic? Want to link up, or are you cool with
Yeah.
linking up? Are you still comfortable? That kind of thing. Yeah, because that's important. We got it. Like things that falls number one theme is, in order to move forward in life, you got to connect. And so
Right.
staying connected is one of the hardest things to do, but one of the most rewarding things to do, I would say, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sigh. I want to thank you for coming by Chemicals Reacts. It's been great
No,
having you, man. You know, I love
I
kicking with you.
no, I appreciate it. It's so crazy. I have like a hiccup now, but I have a hiccup because that the answer to that question like dropped halfway through, and it's hilarious because it like surprised me more than I think it will anyone else. I was just like, it's lost in the world, and it got cut off, and I was like, oh, and I started hiccup. I was like, wow, that's how that happens.
No,
For sure.
you're
I
fine.
I'm hicking up as I laugh too, which is hilarious. So I'm totally
I just got one more favor for you. So I just got one more thing.
yeah. What's up?
Can you just say I'm Sci Hook and I'm tuned in to Chemicals Reacts?
Yeah. Hey, this is Cy Huck, and you're tuning in to Chemicals Redaction. That my hiccup. Wow. Caught me. Intercepted my my rocket. All right. Try again. All right. I can do this. I can do this. Hold on. This is wild. I've never. It's getting worse. You're gonna have to keep, you're definitely gonna have to keep that in there. All right. Hey, this is Cy Huck, and you're tuned in to Chemicals Reactions.
You know what? We good. We good.
You want me to want me to try one more time? I'll try one more time. Okay. Hey, this is Cy Huck, and you're tuned in to Chemicals Reactions.
You did good. You did good.
I got hit with a hiccup like right at the end, but I think it makes for a fun show. It's all good.
Yeah. Hey, look. All that matters is you said it and you did it. All with the comedy. So we good.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I don't get to do comedy much in my films. but on an interview or anyone, I talk to making people laugh and smiles is what I love doing more than anything else. So it's yeah, I appreciate you having me.